Hey everyone, it's Dave from Digital Foundry here.
And Tom as well.
So in this video we're taking a look at a graphics comparison of The Division across 3 platforms. And to kick things off, we're starting with PlayStation 4 and Xbox One.
Yeah, this is probably the one most people would be interested in seeing, certainly the console owners. But as we kind of mentioned in the beta test, there's not a lot between them besides the resolution, is there?
No, and the good news is that basically carries over into the final game as well. PlayStation 4 is locked native 1080p, but on Xbox One we've still got the dynamic resolution. So in this shot here, for example, we're looking at 1728 and 972, and here in the indoor area it's native 1080p on both.
So just to repeat that, it's 1728 by 972, so that's about 81% of the full HD resolution on Xbox One.
And that's in that particular scene, but it does vary.
I mean, it kind of is hard to pin down, and it varies depending on where you're going. Like here, I think we had that resolution, but if you go indoors, it just ramps up immediately to 1080p, and potentially in other areas, less taxing outdoor areas where memory bandwidth isn't such an issue. So in terms of other differences, I'm seeing like the shadow cascade there across the building. It's exactly the same transition. It happens at the same point. So is that sort of fair to say how most other graphic settings are between the two?
Yes, basically in terms of effects work and general sort of tech, the two versions are identical outside of resolution. There are occasional points in the cutscenes where PlayStation 4 might have a slight lot advantage, but it's like a split-second thing. In gameplay, we don't see it at all.
Crucially, we see reflections are identical too, and volumetric fog is kind of like the big effect of the Division. The thing most people latch onto is the point of excitement. They look pretty much identical too. So I guess we're looking at the PC for a big graphical advantage.
Yeah, the PC version's going to be where we're finding sort of the graphical improvements here. And
where does that kind of flare up? Is it because when I checked the differences between the two in the beta, it mostly came down to the reflection quality being higher resolution, and the presence of PCSS shadows was kind of a nice touch. It's not to all people's tastes. Overall, I think it added a few nice touches, if not being the dramatic overhaul you'd expect of a PC release. Is it kind of the same deal this time in the full build?
All the main improvements we see are with regards to sort of key effects. In this case, shadow detail and indeed like the shadow quality is probably the biggest difference between the two.
Cool.
And in addition to the PCSS, we've got HFTS.
So this is brand new. It kind of combines soft and sharp looking shadows?
It works by basically ray tracing certain shadows on top of the PCSS algorithm.
So it's one level on top. It builds on that foundation.
It does, yeah. There's a better transition between soft and sharp looking shadows. It's generally a lot more accurate than PCSS in that respect.
Well, it looks a lot more lifelike.
Yeah, if you had a shadow sort of with a light source close to an object, that would be sharp, but as that light source goes further away, then the shadow would soften.
So this is a taxing process, and it doesn't come for free. It is a very demanding setting, let's say. What sort of card did you need to use to get that running?
Well, I was running the game maxed out with the Titan X, and even then I couldn't hold 60 FPS.
With HFTS?
With everything maxed out HFTS, and it kind of dropped down into the mid-50s or mid or low 50s at various points. So there was stuttering quite often with that. So you're going to have to lower settings down to PCSS, or even lower if you're going to max out everything in order to get 60 frames there.
So let's look at the general graphical quality across the game at large. Textures, they're pretty much the same, aren't they? The parallax occlusion maps, all that stuff.
Yeah, pretty much the same. The only advantage we sometimes see, if you've got a GPU with a high level of VRAM, then sometimes we get slightly higher quality normal maps loaded in from time to time. But I found it's quite a rare occurrence. I mean, I'm running maxed out with a Titan X here, and most of the time the textures and normal maps and stuff are identical to consoles. The other advantage with PCs, you get slightly high quality depth of field, reflections, those kind of aspects are all running at higher precision or resolution, but sometimes it's quite difficult to notice.
Yeah, they're already a bit blurred as they are. It's sort of a minor refinement, isn't it? And that goes for the other thing I've noticed is cloth physics. You kind of had to look close to find this, but there's a difference in the way they're rendered on screen, isn't there?
Yes, the basic physics aspect looks very similar on both, but on the PC we get extra like normal mapped and geometry based folds.
Cool. So on top of that, I guess post-processing is the other big thing. You get SMAA. I suppose it's a bit more refined than what we're seeing on PS4. But is there anything else? Is that just about, can we call it at that?
Well, there are basically a few sort of minor things, slightly better LOD streaming during the cutscenes like we saw on consoles.
Yeah, I noticed the objects streaming in a bit sooner.
And slightly further draw distances in gameplay, but that varies from sort of scene to scene.
And volumetric lighting as well, is that changed at all, or is it just...
Slightly higher precision.
So that's on the ultra setting?
That's on the ultra setting, and that just means that volumetric lights appear a little bit sharper and less diffused.
Okay, well that's pretty cool.
That's pretty much it for the PC upgrades.
Right, well I guess that about covers it, doesn't it?
Yep, that about wraps it up.
Well, thanks for watching. If you found this video useful, give us a like or subscribe below, and catch you next time.